Joe Mazzulla, coach of the reigning champion Celtics, disclosed that he wished the NBA allowed more fighting like other sports do. Now that would be quite fascinating, right? And what exactly were Mazzulla's words? Let's find out. In an interview with NBC Sports Boston, the Celtics coach said, "The biggest thing that we rob people of from an entertainment standpoint is you can't fight anymore. I wish we'd bring back like fighting. You want to talk about robbing the league of entertainment? That's more entertaining than a little scuffle. How come in baseball they're allowed to clear the benches? How come in hockey they're allowed to fight? I don't understand." That was not the end of the Celtics boss's rants. Mazzulla further went on to question why some sports are allowed to clear the benches. The fact that baseball has bats and weapons, but basketball doesn't. We have a ball. The other sport, hockey, has like one of the hardest playing surfaces in a puck and a stick, yet we're not allowed to throw down a little bit? And let's face it, this is not the first time that the former West Virginia University player revealed his interest in fighting in the NBA. Remember when Mazzulla showed his team UFC clips before Game 3 of the 2024 NBA Finals, including the Alex Pereira vs. Jamahal Hill fight from UFC 300 from last April? That is not something we have witnessed from any NBA coach so far. Not to forget the unorthodox and weird ways of training that Mazzulla employs while coaching his players. It is no secret that he regularly keeps the players on their toes with his unorthodox teaching methods, and also unleashed a new idea during the first day of training camp this year, when he proposed basketball without the possibility of scoring buckets. Sounds weird, right? So, apparently, Mazzulla covered the rims with bubbles during one 2-minute scrimmage so no one could score. And during that portion of practice, the Celtics could only earn points in ways that had nothing to do with arcing the ball through the rim. With a lid on the bucket, they had no prayer of making a shot. That's one example of Mazzulla's unconventional and out-of-the-box ideas. That does fetch him results on the court as well. And that's not it. The 36-year-old has more such ideas for the NBA, which encourage fighting, as he said, that he would like the NBA to follow hockey's lead and create power plays. "Basketball is one of the only sports that doesn't have a power play," he said. "I think soccer just put in a blue card where a guy has to go off and it's 10 on 9, and so we should have a power play." But the NBA is quite strict and tough on those who would want to participate or even attempt to become involved with altercations, with players even receiving suspensions for leaving the bench. Take the 2007 playoffs as an example, when then-Sun star Amare Stoudemire received a 1-game suspension for leaving the bench against the Spurs, and San Antonio won the next game en route to closing out the semifinal series in 6 games. And since the NBA does not like the idea of fighting, Mazzulla's comments raised eyebrows in the NBA world and resulted in a few comments from some famous personalities. One of them is Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green. Let's hear what exactly Green had to say. "I get what Joe is trying to get at," Green said on Thursday's edition of The Draymond Show with Baron Davis. "The shit-talking and guys getting testy, we take so much of that out of the game today. Actual physical fights, Joe? I'm here to petition against you." And obviously, we get why Green would say that. Because of personal experience. Green has been a continuous subject of altercations throughout his NBA career, which also resulted in a 12-game suspension early last season that led the 4-time All-Star to retire. Not to forget the time he choked Rudy Gobert, which, by the way, Green does not regret doing whatsoever. That's one such classic fighting example that Joe must have surely loved to watch, and he probably wants to see more of that in the NBA. During a game between the Warriors and the Wolves, things got pretty heated up when Green choked Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert after grabbing him in a headlock. Although he got suspended for it, Green does not care about his actions. Surely Mazzulla expects the same type of attitude from other NBA players. But Stephen A. Smith has not entirely dismissed Joe's fighting take in the NBA. In fact, he rather supported it to some extent, as opposed to how most others have reacted across NBA shows and podcasts. Here's what Smith had to say. "Mazzulla is the kind of guy because obviously they talk about him in martial arts and you know he doesn't mind fighting or what have you. I would say this. I wouldn't go as far as he said it, but I do think that the NBA, I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the way the game is called. I do think that it's gotten a bit too soft. The slightest thing, even cats jawing at one another, you can get teed up for crying out loud. I think that's a bit excessive." Smith is not entirely wrong too, is he? He further added to his take by saying, "Guys are hyper, guys are motivated. They're going after it. What have you? You want to find yourself in a situation where you're literally going at one another, and you're going all out. If that means getting in each other's face and jawing with one another without the fisticuffs, I don't have a problem with that. And guess who else stepped in to give a hilarious take on Mazzulla's comment? None other than Houston Rockets star Steven Adams, who is no stranger to grabbing attention on social media with his unique humor. He posted a hilarious comment on Instagram joking, $20 I punch at Rudy Gobert, 27 square in the nose. But Instagram did not appreciate Adams' humor and responded to him by immediately deleting his comment. As the NBA world seems divided on Mazzulla's fighting take, what is your take on the issue? Should the NBA have more fights to make things even more interesting? Let us know in the comments section below.